Hello there, lovely people, it's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today we're going to be looking at something that I think a lot of people have been asking for the Switch. A VR headset, and I'm using big inverted commas. The fact is the Switch is not designed for VR. It's not entirely impossible that it could use it in the future. I know there are a lot of issues surrounding that, but you know, sort of let's just ignore that. It's not impossible is what I'm saying. However, what we have here is a passive 3D headset that will make normal games look 3D. Supposedly. What's the name of the company? Massive thanks to XClim for sending this samples over, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Yes, this has been provided free of charge, and we're looking at it, but we're still going to look at it properly. And this is the device. So as you can see, your Switch goes in there. In fact, you know, I'll even show you doing that. So you pop your Switch in here, and then you just clip it in like that. And you know what? That clip actually works surprisingly well. It's got little like indents and stuff. It's properly designed for the Switch. Yeah, I like that. And then you very comfortably and easily slip it over your head, and you look like an idiot. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, how on earth can this make a 2D image appear 3D? And I was thinking the same, to be honest, but I thought, you know what? I don't know everything about optics, so let's go in with an open mind and see what they have to offer. So, does it function as intended? Does it make a 2D image appear 3D? No, it really doesn't, and I'll tell you why. The technology that you get in most VR headsets, this is just a cheapy one that my mum bought me for a smartphone a couple of years ago for Christmas. I still don't know why. The basic idea is that you have two lenses in the back here, one for the left eye, one for the right, and the phone, or whatever it is, the screen, you know, because PSVR obviously doesn't use a phone, displays two images, or indeed two screens display one image each, one for each eye, and there are subtle differences between the two, basically the same way that your eyes work, and that gives you the feeling of depth. You have depth perception. However, if you try to look through one of these things at a standard normal image of your screen, it looks garbled as hell. To be honest, actually, you can... Yeah, I can see it now. God, that's bright. Basically, that's just not what they're designed to do. They are designed to have two images put into two different eyeballs. Where this works, as you can see, there ain't two. This isn't something that's very easy to show on camera, but actually you can see there is just one lens that goes across the whole thing, because obviously Switch games only display one image, so it's one image that has to be shared with both eyes, meaning splitting it wouldn't really work. The technology that's inside this thing that makes it work is simply just two lenticular lenses. If you don't know, a lenticular lens is not a smooth, nice, clean surface as you get with many standard lenses, including the one in this camera. I say one, it has lots. A lenticular lens is sort of bumpy, it's sort of ridged if you like, and it's ridged in different ways depending on what you need. If you've ever seen one of those 3D images, the sort of the big plastic hard images, and it changes depending on how you angle it, that's using lenticular lens technology. So what happens when you put a lenticular lens up to your eyes like this? Well, I am no expert by any means. I don't know much about optics. I know a bit about camera work and stuff like that, so I know a couple of bits and bobs, but overall, I really am no expert, so take everything I say with a pinch of salt. Essentially, they work very much like glasses, changing the way that your eyes focus and indeed the way your eyes work. Normally, I wouldn't be able to focus on something that's this far away from my face. I just can't do it. My eyes don't work like that. I think my fiancée can, but she needs glasses. So what the lenses do is they allow you to focus on something closer than you would do usually. It's essentially a magnifying glass. What this results in is a very large, sort of blown up version of your Switch screen, which is fine and it, you know, generally looks nice and big. But there are other problems. Lenses come with all sorts of quirks. Even expensive ones have their own issues, and as such, no lens is perfect. And these cheap plastic ones are less than perfect. In fact, they're less than perfect. Because of the way that it works, it's quite difficult to show you what it looks like on camera, but here's a brief glimpse. Yeah, because of the differences between a camera lens and a human eye, it's really not very easy to get across just quite how this looks to the human eye, but you can probably tell that there's something funky going on. To make it easier, I'm going to simulate what it looks like by using myself as an example, and then the Switch screen as well. It's basically just some effects in, I was about to say Photoshop. It's just some effects, so it's only a simulation of what I see. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but it gives you an idea. far better idea than the camera can. So first of all, the Nintendo Switch runs at 720p through its standard, handheld screen. So let's cut it down to 720p, because at the moment we're looking at 1080p, so let's drop down to 720p. Still looks pretty good, it's pretty clean. Overall, if you're watching this on a phone, you may not even have noticed much of a difference at all. But let's take things further. The way that the lenses work in the headset essentially create a sort of a distortion on the image. You can't properly focus on it. The focus in the center generally seems to be relatively good, not perfect, it is still definitely blurred, and the outside is even blurrier. It sort of looks like the background, the thing that you're not focusing on in the center, is out of focus, which gives the illusion of depth. It's not a good one. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So rather than seeing an image like this, you are seeing an image like this. Yeah, there's notable distortion, everything is slightly blurrier to sort of try and mask the harsh jaggies that you would get in a lot of games, and overall it just doesn't look very good. You may also notice, if I can point to it properly, let's point over here, you might be able to see up here. Do you notice that? That's a little thing called chromatic aberration, and that's what this thing does. Because the lenticular lenses are essentially prisms for light to scatter, you get this. And that basically is just some of the light has been cast off a little bit in the wrong direction, and you'll see it on this side as well. But let's go back to normal vision, because that kind of hurts. So, does it work as a concept? No. It just flat out, it doesn't work as an idea. Also, the sort of whole having on your head, I don't know, can you see how far out that is? It is heavy. The Switch is not an enormously light device, and it's heavy on your head. It constantly wants to pull it down. And also, it's sort of, I don't know whether it's just me, but it tries to close my nostrils. And I like to breathe. But that is not all that they sent. Oh, crumbs no. They also sent another version, and just to make sure that this isn't, this isn't some trickery, here's one with the Switch in. Here's another one without a Switch in. This is the development version, and this is basically designed for developers of games to use this so that they can create a 3D mode for use with this. The only difference is the positioning of the lenticular lenses. I believe they're further apart, but I'm really not 100% sure about that. But as you can see there, yeah, it looks basically the same on the inside. The difference being, though, it's so much worse! Seriously, I can't even begin to describe how much worse it is to look through these than it is through these. These are weird, they give you a slight sort of, maybe a slight headache overall, and they generally just have a very sort of mild effect. It doesn't look 3D at all, to be honest. But these are on another level. This is the sort of the jack of all trades. This is the one that's supposed to work with every game. And to be honest, I mean, it does work with every game, but what it tries to do doesn't work. So, although it's compatible, it doesn't work. That made more sense in my head. This version, though, I'm just going to turn it on just to remind myself. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, so this is what it looks like when filmed through. Again, camera lenses and human eyes work differently, so this isn't necessarily going to be a fair representation of what it actually looks like. But do you know what's a better representation? Mocking it up in Final Cut. So let's do what we did before. Let's cut the resolution down to 720p. Okay, we're in 720p, no problem. And now let me show you what it looks like in this version. Oh god! The chromatic aberration is even more prevalent. There's a weird fisheye. The distortion is unbelievable. It's essentially just intensified. So I suppose if you developed a game and made it so that it sort of countered that, it would work. But would it look more 3D or just more distorted? I don't know. Let's stop that, because it looks horrible. Do you know what the most bizarre thing about all this is? This isn't even a new idea. Being a long-time fan of the wonderful Stuart Ashen, link in the description, as soon as this arrived and I saw how it was actually being, well, how the effect actually worked, I was immediately reminded of a thing called Cyber FX that Mr. Ashen's looked at goodness knows how many years ago. I think, like, some. It was essentially the same idea, but designed without actually strapping the screen on the front, and apparently it was just as bad. Stay fresh, cheese bags. It is a real shame, because I never thought that this was going to be, the best thing in the world, and I'd never play a Switch again without using this headset, but I did at least hope that it would be functional and at least, sort of enjoyable to use, but it just isn't. It just isn't. I don't think there was any malice or any sort of misdirection in the development of this. I think it was made in earnest, but unfortunately it's just using technology that doesn't work. and maybe, you know, sort of R&D saw this and thought, hey, this could work. It doesn't. I genuinely wanted to like these glasses, even if they were just, you know, a total novelty, but I just can't. It's just a flawed idea from start to finish, and the execution is, well, it's a flawed idea. It doesn't matter how good the execution is. Also, you can't wear it if you need glasses. I just got the glasses out and wanted to use them. And there you have it, the NS glasses. A disappointing product, but if you do want to learn more about them, can't say I recommend it, but if you do want to just learn a bit more, then make sure you check out the link in the description. Again, big thanks to Exclim for sending these over, but sorry, they're not good. However, could make a brilliant prop. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you click that subscribe button like the knights of yore in the 21st century, and be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. I can't see a thing through these. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. Ow.